My name is Olivia, and I want to tell you my story. It's a story about love, trust, and learning to be strong. I grew up in a small town. I was a shy and quiet girl. I loved books and drawing. My parents were very strict. They always said, focus on school. Don't waste time on silly things. I really wanted to go to art classes, but they said no, so I stayed home and studied. When I turned 19, I moved to the city for college. It was the first time I felt free. I made friends, went to cafes, and dreamed about becoming an artist. One day, I met Alex. He was charming, funny, and kind. His eyes were bright, and his smile made me feel warm inside. He asked me, "What's your dream?" I smiled and told him, "I want to be an artist." Alex looked at me and said, "You're so talented. You can do anything." When I was with him, I felt special. Alex made me laugh. He listened to me like no one else ever had. We talked about everything, our dreams, favorite books, and childhood memories. A few months later, Alex asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes. I thought he was the one. At first, everything felt perfect. Alex brought me flowers, took me to movies, and said, "You're the most beautiful girl I've ever met." But after a year, things started to change. Alex began to control me. He said, "I don't like those clothes. You should wear something else." He didn't like my friends either. "They're a bad influence," he told me. Slowly, I stopped seeing them. One day, Alex saw my paintings. Instead of smiling, he frowned and said, "Why do you waste time on this?" My heart sank. "You'll never be good enough to be an artist." Alex's words felt like sharp glass cutting through me. It hurt, but I told myself, he's just being honest. Maybe he's right. Alex started coming home late. When I asked where he had been, he frowned and said, "Don't ask so many questions. Don't you trust me?" I began to feel lonely. I missed my friends. I missed the girl I used to be. But I still loved Alex. I thought, he'll change. He loves me. One night, Alex got angry because I didn't cook dinner on time. He shouted at me and threw a plate on the floor. I froze. My hands were shaking. "It's just one time. He's stressed," I whispered to myself. But then, it happened again. Alex started checking my phone. "Who are you texting?" he asked, his eyes cold. If I didn't answer fast enough, his face turned red with anger. One day, while Alex was in the shower, I found a message on his phone. It was from another woman. "I can't wait to see you again." My heart stopped. I held the phone tightly and stared at the words until they blurred. When Alex came out, I asked, "Who is she?" He shrugged, "She's just a friend. Don't be jealous." But I knew he was lying. I felt small, like I didn't matter. I wanted to leave. But how? I had no money, no friends, and my family was far away. Alex made sure I depended on him for everything. One afternoon, as I was cleaning, I found a letter in his jacket pocket. It was from her. The same woman. "Thank you for the weekend. I love you." Tears rolled down my cheeks. That evening, when Alex came home, I held the letter out to him. "What is this, Alex?" He snatched it from my hands, his face hard and cold. "You're overreacting," he said, his voice sharp. But I could see it in his eyes. He wasn't sorry. "I've had enough. You don't love me." I shouted, my voice shaking. Alex stepped closer, his hands raised like he could fix everything. "I made mistakes, but I love you. Don't leave me," he said softly. But I didn't believe him anymore. Love doesn't hurt like this. Love doesn't lie. The next morning, I packed my bags. My heart pounded as I wrote a small note and left it on the table. I deserve better. I walked out the door, leaving behind the pieces of a love that wasn't real. I went to stay with a friend I hadn't seen in years. When she opened the door, she hugged me tightly. "You're safe now," she whispered. At first, it was hard. I felt scared. Alone, but day by day, I started to rebuild my life. I got a job at a small cafe, wiping tables and serving coffee, and one evening, I picked up a paintbrush. The colors felt warm in my hands, and for the first time in months, I smiled. My art made me feel alive again. I even joined a small art class in town. I met new people, kind people. They looked at my paintings and said, "You are so brave." Their words lit a spark inside me. Alex called me many times, begging me to come back. But I never answered. I knew I deserved better. Now, I live in a small apartment filled with my paintings. The walls are bright with color and hope. Every morning, I wake up and look in the mirror. You are strong. You are enough, I tell myself. I also reached out to my parents. It wasn't easy at first. They had been strict, and I was afraid, but one evening, I picked up the phone and called them. To my surprise, my mother's voice trembled as she said, "Olivia, we should have supported you. We were wrong, and we're so sorry." Tears filled my eyes, but her words brought hope. Slowly, we began to heal. Now, I call my parents every day. They visit often, bringing warmth and laughter into my little home. They are proud of the woman I've become, and that means everything to me. My love for painting grew stronger during this time. Late at night, I sit by the window with my brushes and colors. Painting became my escape. My therapy. My voice. One day, my father saw one of my paintings. His eyes lit up as he said, "Olivia, this is incredible. You should share your work with the world." His words stayed with me. With his encouragement, I began sharing my paintings online. At first, I felt nervous. What if no one likes them? I wondered, but to my surprise, people loved my art. Their support filled the cracks in my heart, and now, when I paint, I feel free. One of my posts caught the eye of a local art gallery. They invited me to showcase my work at an exhibition. The day of the exhibition felt magical. My parents stood proudly by my side. My friends cheered me on. Even strangers came up to say how much they loved my paintings. Some of them even bought my work. As I stood there, surrounded by love and appreciation, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: pride. I had come so far from the scared woman who once felt invisible. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was thriving. Later that evening, as the exhibition was winding down, I noticed someone standing near the door. It was Alex. He didn't come inside, but he watched quietly from a distance. His eyes were full of regret. For a brief moment, I felt a small pang of sadness for the man I once thought I loved. A week later, I received a message from him. "Olivia, I saw your exhibition. You've become someone so strong and beautiful. I regret everything I did to you. I'm sorry for hurting you and for losing you." I read his words carefully, but I didn't reply. I didn't need his apology to move forward. I had already found my peace, and my strength. Now, every morning I wake up with purpose. My parents are proud, and I am finally living a life that feels like my own. Painting has become more than just a passion. It's a symbol of my courage, my resilience, and my freedom. If you are reading this, I want you to know something. You don't have to stay with someone who hurts you. You deserve love, kindness, and respect. I thought Alex loved me. But real love doesn't break you. It builds you up. My story isn't over. I am still learning, growing, and dreaming, and one day, I know I will find true happiness. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, and share.